Good morning, students of class 9. You are welcome back to the online portal now. Let's continue our lesson in history. We are doing socialism in Europe and Russian Revolution. We are doing this. So now here we have reached 2.0. In our previous class we have learned about socialism in Europe. We have radicals, conservatives and liberals. We have learned about all these things, their ideas and views about the societies. Now from today onwards we will start with the Russian Revolution. 2.0, the Russian Revolution. From here there are 3 points over here first, then another part starts. Now here 2.0, the Russian Revolution. Number 1, Russia was one of the least industrialized of the European states. Means most of the European states were industrialized. They were getting rich. Production was going on in their factories. A lot of people, they got employment in the industries and their living standard were rising. But in Russia, it was the least industrialized. Russia was still an agricultural country. Most of the people worked in agriculture. There were no big industries in Russia. So Russia was one of the least industrialized state in Europe. Number 2, socialist. The idea of socialism spread all over Europe and it spread all over Russia also. The socialists took over the government in Russia. The socialists took over the government in Russia through the October Revolution of 1917. Russian Revolution took place two times. One was in February and one was in October. So socialists took over the government in Russia through October Revolution of 1917. The fall of monarchy. The king lost all his power. His power were taken over and he was just in the namesake only. He was a monarchical, constitutional monarchy. The fall of monarchy in February 1917. In 1917 February, the king was just a constitutional monarchy. And by October, and the event of October, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, after 7-8 months, and the event of October, Russia took over everything and socialists took over the government. And normally these two events, February Revolution and October Revolution of 1917, normally called Russian Revolution. Russian Revolution by the socialists. Now here, how did this come about? How did they took over the government? What process they followed? How did this change came about? What were the social and political conditions in Russia when the revolution occurred? What were the political and economic conditions? Economic conditions, whether the people were employed or unemployed, what was the condition of the society, and the political conditions about the revolution and different revolutionary groups. What were the social means society, what kind of society and what kind of political conditions was prevailed or was there in Russia when the revolution occurred. To answer these questions, to look at their social and political conditions, to answer this question, let us look at Russia a few years before the revolution. A few years before the revolution, we'll study about the Russia, then we'll come to know about their political and economic condition and social conditions. So then we'll come to know about this. So now 2.1. Yeah, now this is 2.0, now here is 2.1. The Russian Empire in 1914, when the First World War began. The Russian Empire in 1914. Here, we have only one point here right now. In our next class, we will continue the whole thing. Number one, in 1914, Tsar Nicholas II, who was the king of Russia during the revolution, Russian Revolution. During this period, the name of the king of Russia and the emperor or the king, monarch of Russia was Tsar Nicholas II. Tsar Nicholas II ruled Russia during this period in 1914. He was overthrown. His power was taken over by socialists. Tsar Nicholas II ruled Russia during this period. Besides the territory around Moscow, he ruled Russia, and Russia also occupied many other areas. Besides the territory around Moscow, Moscow is the capital of Russia. The Russian Empire included, there were other areas which were ruled by Tsar Nicholas. The Russian Empire included current day, at present, Finland, that was under Russia, Latvia, that was under Russia, Lithuania, that was under Russia, Estonia, parts of Poland, Ukraine and Belarus. These areas were under Russia, ruled by Tsar Nicholas. And when Tsar Nicholas was overthrown, when his power was taken over, or when the government was taken over by socialists, Russia became a socialist country. And now, how did this happen? We'll talk about the social, political and economic condition of Russia just before the revolution occurred. Then we'll understand everything. Why people revolted against the king? What was the reason for their revolution? So we can understand that clearly. So first we'll learn about the cause of the revolution. What were the causes of the revolution that occurred in Russia and spread the ideas of socialism? So first we'll learn about the cause, then we'll go through the revolution and the process they adopted, and the event unfolded one after another. We'll talk about that in Russian Revolution. So that's all for today. Stay safe, be wise enough to go through the online portal carefully, attentively, listen carefully when you go through this. It doesn't take a long time, that you know it. I'm not taking an hour or half an hour or 40, 50 minutes, 30, 40 minutes. Not that, very short, but you must pay attention to that. So that's all for today. We'll meet in the next class and continue our lesson about the Russian Empire in 1914, 2.1. We'll continue in our next. So that's all for today. Thank you very much for watching and listening very, very attentively. And I hope you are going through your books as well. Do not waste your time. Thank you very much.